All right, let's just get straight to it. What the hell did The Weeknd do to the Grammys? The Grammys and The Weeknd have had a very weird relationship over the last few years. After his album After Hours didn't receive a single nomination, and then he refused to submit anything for Don FM, which might not be the most popular amongst fans, but from critics, it's one of his best albums. We had a weird kumbaya moment earlier this year where the head of the Grammys, the president of the Grammys, whatever, he came out and he gave a speech about connecting with artists and basically apologizing to The Weeknd, in which The Weeknd later came out and performed. Even for me back then, that entire moment seemed kind of weird, but at the end of the day, it seems like that moment meant absolutely nothing, because last Friday, the Grammys just announced their nominations for this upcoming award show, and The Weeknd did not receive a single nomination for his latest album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. If you've been on my channel before, you might already know this. If you're new, if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm a big fan of The Weeknd. I have purchased every single album that this man had put out in his career, and I'm going to continue to buy them in the next chapter of his career. I'm not delusional. I like to think that I'm a big fan of The Weeknd, but I'm not a stan. I don't think he should win every single award that's ever been created by man, even though for me, I would love that. But the fact that he didn't receive a single nomination this year for Hurry Up Tomorrow, especially after the boycott that he did with Don FM, especially after that weird kumbaya moment that we got at this year's Grammy Awards, to me, that's insane. For me personally, I love the Grammys. The Grammys are the only award show that I set out every year and I sit down and I watch. Now, I don't think the Grammys are the end all be all. I just love music, so I like the Grammys. But we have this weird relationship with people with the Grammys where they always say the Grammys don't matter, the Grammys aren't culture, the Grammys don't really mean anything. People always hate the Grammys until the artist that they like gets nominated or actually win the award, and then all of a sudden, the Grammys matter. I'm not that person. I like the Grammys. But the reason this beef started with the Grammys is because he didn't receive a single nomination for his album After Hours, which in my opinion is one of the best albums of this decade. And that's not me being biased. That's not me being a stan. If you want to say that the album After Hours as a whole doesn't deserve a nomination, whatever. I think you're extremely wrong, but whatever. But Blinding Lights was ranked by Billboard as the #1 song of the 21st century, the longest running song in the top 100 with 90 weeks, the longest running song in the top 40 with 86 weeks, the longest running song in the top 10 with 57 weeks, was the first song to reach 5 billion streams on Spotify, and that song did not receive a single nomination, not Best Pop Song of the Year, not Song of the Year, not Record of the Year. That doesn't make sense. And again, back to the album Hurry Up Tomorrow, I'm not even saying that this album needs to win anything, but to not get a single nomination is still crazy to me. Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of The Weeknd. I love this album. This is one of my favorite albums that he's ever made. But from people that I know that usually hate on The Weeknd and they don't like The Weeknd, even they say they like this album. I don't think I've met a single person that have told me that they thought this album was bad. Now, for the singles for this project, we didn't get any singles as big as some of the ones that we saw on an album like Starboy or an album like After Hours, but as a complete body of work, regardless of genre, this is one of the best albums of the year. The story that we got from this album, the music videos, when you don't count the weird Apple and iPhone stuff, the music videos that we got were great. The way that this album flows one song to the next, it doesn't feel like a playlist album or just an album full of random songs. Like, I love the way that this album is connected to each other. Like, I love how one song flows to the next. Like, all first listen, this was easily one of my favorite projects that The Weeknd ever made. I did a review on this album when it first came out. Feel free to check that out. I love this album. According to Google, he submitted his album for 2 categories. He submitted for Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album. He also submitted Timeless for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. Now, I'm not too upset about Timeless. It's really popular and I do think it's a cool song, but I'm not mad that it's not nominated for a Grammy, if I worded that correctly. I would replace Timeless with Anxiety by Doechii though. That song is fucking garbage. For Best Pop Vocal Album, I can't speak for most of the nominees since I don't listen to them, but we can get that Justin Bieber album out of here. I did not think that album was that great. For Album of the Year, again, get Justin Bieber out of here. And I don't know if this is a hot take or not, but I'm getting that Tyler the Creator album out of there as well, Chromacopia. I thought that album was cool, but I think Hurry Up Tomorrow was much better than that. And again, I'm not even saying that The Weeknd needed to win, but he should at least be nominated. But I blame The Weeknd because The Weeknd allowed them to play in his face. Like, they robbed him during After Hours by not giving him a single nomination. He boycotted one album by not submitting Dawn FM. Ooh, that showed them. And then he allowed them to give that weak ass apology. He went on stage and he performed, and he pretty much bowed down to the industry. Another one of my favorite artists, Drake, and yes, I know a lot of people don't like Drake right now. I don't care, that's my guy. But years ago, Drake won a Grammy. He then got on stage, and in front of everybody's faces, he pretty much said, yeah, this award doesn't matter. In a way, Drake has quietly been protesting, or at least not really rocking with the Grammys, because Drake hasn't submitted any solo work since 2019, and everything he submitted since then has been a collab album or features, in which I take that as that's his way of giving a smaller artist an award or a nomination. Like this year, Nokia is one of the biggest songs of the year. Nokia was off his popular collab album with Party Next Door, a great album in my opinion, but he didn't submit it. It's a solo song, so he didn't bother. That's the type of time The Weeknd needs to be on. I'm not mad or upset. Like, I fully understand why The Weeknd wants to be accepted by the industry, especially if you were there from the beginning and you know the type of music that he was making. I always loved his music, but I never thought he would even sniff a Grammy. But they played in his face. Like, they made him look crazy with what they did earlier this year. But The Weeknd isn't the only artist that gets snubbed from the Grammys. Like, in the white community, it seems like they're upset that Lorde wasn't acknowledged. I don't listen to Lorde. I only know her from that real old song. I forgot what that's called, Royals, I think. But white people seem to be upset about that. For me, in the urban community and hip hop, Freddie Gibbs is one of my favorite rappers. Freddie Gibbs put out an amazing album called Alfredo 2. That album did not receive any sort of recognition. I'm not a big Chance the Rapper fan, but from what I've heard, I haven't listened to his new album, but from what I've heard from other people, I've only seen universal praise from his album. His album also didn't receive any nominations. Maybe I'm biased, maybe I'm tripping, maybe I like this album a lot more than other people. Music is subjective, but I feel like from conversations that I hear from people in person, conversations that I see on social media, I'm constantly seeing people put Hurry Up Tomorrow as one of the best albums of the year, period, regardless of genres. And this album came out in March, April or something like that, and it's November and people are still talking about this album. Now, what The Weeknd does from here, I don't know. This was his last album under the name The Weeknd. He's moving to his official name, Abel. I can never pronounce his last name. Tesfaye. I have no idea what his new music is going to sound like, what he's going to be talking about. We're going to see. Will he submit anything down the road? At this point, me personally, I wouldn't, but I'm not him. But we just gonna have to wait and see. But thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe if you're new here. We talk about a bunch of different things on this channel. What are your thoughts on this topic? Am I tripping? Am I crazy? Is this album really not that good? Am I just glazing? Or do you think this album is great like I think? Or do you think this should have got nominated for something at least? And also, what other artists do you think got snubbed? Because like I said, Freddie Gibbs not getting a nomination, if you're a hip hop fan, to me, that's crazy. But let me know you guys' thoughts in the comment section below. Also, check out my review for Hurry Up Tomorrow that I did when this album first came out. I also did a video where I ranked The Weeknd's albums from worst to best, but just know that this album wasn't out yet when I made that video. I would probably put this album at like 3. This might be The Weeknd's 3rd best album, but you got to watch that video to see my other rankings. So thank you guys again just for watching. Love you guys as always. Remember to tell somebody that you love them. Until next time, see you in the next life.